All right, you guys, today's a fun and exciting day because it's time to start painting our Claydonians. Yes, it's so amazing. So if you're not quite there yet, you haven't baked yours yet, head on back to the last video or wherever you've left off, because you're gonna need to do all those steps before we get to the step. All right. So we are painting today. Today we're going to more or less just paint that base coat. So when I'm looking at my Claydonian, I'm going to say, what is that base color? And I'm just going to do that. It's much easier to paint a base coat on day one and then to do all the little details on day two than it is to try to like paint around, like leaving spots for the green dots. That'll take so much longer. So paint a base coat day one, paint the details day two. That's going to be my first recommendation to you. The next thing is, getting the right colors. So you guys can see I've got all of my beautiful paints here. So many lovely colors. The problem is the closest color to my Claydonian ended up being, I don't know if you guys can tell the difference here, but it's kind of blaze orange, right? Like this is very bright. I don't know. On the camera, it doesn't look as bright as it does in real life, but it's bright orange. So what I did was I actually added a bit of this gold to it just to mute it a little bit, make it not so like in your face. So those are the two that I added. I mainly used the orange, but I put in just a touch of the gold, and then I mixed them together. Now here is a pro tip for you all. If you are mixing colors, look at how much of your Claydonian needs that and make sure you're getting enough paint for the whole thing. That whole, whatever it is you're painting, whether it's the detailed spots or, once again, today we're doing the base coat. But you want to make sure, because to mix the exact portions of the color, 2, 3, however many colors you're mixing to get this color is going to be next to impossible. Like, it is going to be so tricky. So that means then you'd have to mix again, and it's probably going to end up being a little bit different, and then you're going to have to repaint the whole thing again. So just make sure you're mixing enough is going to be my number one suggestion. Then, of course, just going in and painting it. Now, when painting, do you see how that looks like really sloppy? You don't want to do that. So, like, go ahead and, like, it can be sloppy at first, but always my finishing detail is going to be just very nicely, like, make sure that all of those lines are even, soft, looking good, all that kind of stuff, okay? And then, of course, you don't want to be putting fingerprints over the top of it. So just making sure you're paying attention to all of those things as you're going around and painting your Claydonian, okay? You guys don't need to watch me paint this whole thing, so let's just chat. I'm going to set it down here carefully. So I would want to get the whole thing painted today, though, okay? The whole base coat. That way it's going to be nice and dry for tomorrow. You could even start painting on the details today, but you're going to want to give it a good maybe half hour to an hour after you've painted the base coat on before you start putting on any details, so that when you're picking it up, you're not getting paint on your fingers and you're not leaving fingerprints on your Claydonian either. All right, so paint that today. Have that ready to go for tomorrow. Let's see. So the next thing that we need to know, so tomorrow we're going to talk about painting on the details. We're also going to talk about the Claydonian game. So you'll need a piece of paper and something to write with tomorrow to get set up for the Claydonian game. Because then the following day, that's going to be our 5 bonus points if you choose to play the Claydonian game. And then you record, because you have to write stuff down as you're playing the game. You record things along the way. And then you take a picture of that and submit it with your journal entry. It's going to count for 5 bonus points. And it's really fun. So there's also that. So have that paper and pencil ready to go for tomorrow. We will talk about detail painting. We will talk about the Claydonian game. And we're also going to, so for number 2 today, it says chatting about glazing our Claydonians. So that being said, I thought it might not be a bad idea for you to ask the adults in your home, check with neighbors, relatives, whatever you've got, to see if you have anything that would work well for a glaze, and then have it ready to go for tomorrow. because then you can show me in class and I can say, yes, that'll work well. No, that won't work well. But let me just show you really quickly what does tend to work best. So I'm going to transition my screen here, make this a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to show you guys. This is what tends to work best. It's a no odor polyurethane, and you just kind of paint on. Three coats tends to work best. So paint a coat, let it dry, paint it. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. But this tends to work the best for it. Now, that doesn't mean it's the only thing, but something kind of like this actually works really well. It's going to make it really durable, give it a nice like coat to it, give it a nice polished finish, and just make it so it's like less breakable and stuff like that. But yeah, anything that you've got in your house where you're like, oh, maybe this could work, feel free to have that ready to go for next class. And then I can help determine whether it's going to work well or not for this project. Okay, let me just double check that we covered everything we needed to. Yes, I think so. So have fun. Remember, today we want to get that whole base coat painted. If you let it dry and decide to do some detail stuff too, cool. If not, no worries. That's what tomorrow's for, as well as talking about glaze and talking about the Claydonian game. Can't wait you guys to see yours. I know it's going to be amazing. All right, have a good rest of your day.